Welcome back once more to Final Fantasy XIV, where we are once again in front of a Machinist Guild or the Sky Steel Manufactory to continue or start the Heavensward part of a Machinist quest. With our tourney victory, we have indelibly etched the Machinist's presence in the minds of the Holy See, and now that my father has relinquished the running of a manufactory to me, it would seem our fortunes have at last taken a turn for the better. Father has also formally responded to Lord Tettlegrinch, promising our support in House Desmal's next sortie. I'm not yet privy to the details of the operation, but imagine the role Tettlegrinch will choose for us shall be both demanding and dangerous. In his attempt to humiliate the Machinist, however, he will only provide us with another stage on which to prove our worth. A victory in the field will garner us greater support from the Holy See and allow me to apportion funds towards the development of ever more potent weapons. Thus, 'tis vitally important that we see this operation succeed. But an equally important matter must be addressed ere we delve too deep into such concerns. The celebration of our tourney triumph. We must have Joye and Wostenstahl join us for festivities. But I believe Joye's services are yet required at the manor. Pray seek out our master of marksmanship first, if you would. A party, is it? Bah, I ain't going. All I did during the tourney was watch. How can you say that, Master Wostenstahl? Without your instruction, we'd never have stood a chance. Now look at us, upstart commoners defeating the likes of seasoned knights. I taught you how to shoot, aye, but the tourney victory was somewhat you managed all on your own. I can see arguing with you ain't getting me nowhere. I'll just drag you back to the workshop instead. But still, we can't begin festivities without Joye. This time of the day, she'll be at her chores in the manor house. Maybe if you talk to the Count, you'll let her leave early to attend the celebration. She ain't want to abandon her duties half done, though. It would be best to approach the Count directly and not give her a chance to object. Aye, well, that's awfully serious about her work. Wouldn't want her keeling over from guilt now, would he? The Count should be home if you don't mind talking to him. I'll be sure the instructor here makes it to the celebration. Count Baron de Hallenart. There's to be a celebration, is there? Huh? And naturally I've come to fetch Joye. Pray return to the manufactory and I shall be along forthwith to explain why she shan't be attending. That doesn't sound good. My Machinist deserves to enjoy the hard-won victory. Everyone is present, yes? Once again, pray allow me to congratulate you all on your tourney performance. Ere you celebrate your victory, however, I have news. What is it, Father? It was quite a sudden development, but Joye is wet. Bloody hells. Well, there's another good reason to bring out the Gurk. Wet? I heard naught of any engagement. She's gone then? Aye, Joye's chambers at the manor have already been emptied, and now that she is married, I do not foresee her returning to the manufactory. She left behind her firearm. Wait, what's Joye getting married got to do with her leaving the workshop? Within the walls of Ishgard, 'tis usually the unwed that serve the manor houses. Many retire from such work upon the day of their marriage, as young Joye has done. 'Tis all too much. Now that we have at least earned a modicum of recognition, 'tis ill-timed indeed to lose so talented a Machinist. It would seem that familiar circumstances demanded a swift union be made, but let us not bemoan what is lost, let us instead raise a toast to the happiness Joye has found. You must needs accept that your colleague has moved on and adapt your strategies accordingly. Our Desmal will call upon you soon, and I expect to hear great things from this allied operation. A yawning abyss has opened in our ranks. How could she leave us without so much as a final farewell? Familiar circumstance. Has something ill befallen her dad, I wonder? Celestor, are you acquainted with Joye's father? Aye, we oft hunted together. He was the one that suggested I try my hand here at the workshop. Told me his daughter had found herself a decent job with a fine employer. And mayhap he can also tell you whither his daughter has gone. I would fain convince both the wife and her new husband to accept positions at the manufactory. I'll speak with him a lot. I don't much fancy taking to a field without Joye and her uncanny aim at me side. Even should Joye refuse to my overture, however, we cannot simply abandon our obligation to House Desmal. Wassenstall, you must duel your students without quarter. I'll push them as hard as you like, boss, as long as they're fairly compensated. The celebrations shall have to wait this way. Unless we can persuade Joye to return, the burdens of battle must be divided betwixt those of us who remain. But surely she will come back to us. Surely. Next quest at 52. Ah, there you are, Desiree. It would seem that's not only Joye, but her father as well who has vanished from the city. Celestor is out asking questions, but there are few answers to be had. Rather than sit here on our hands while we wait for a revelation, however, I would prefer we begin preparations for our engagement alongside House Desmal. The Desmals have been struggling to restore the township of Falcon's Nest, an enterprise that has been interrupted time and again by marauding Ravanians. The signs and the steady trickle of scouting reports suggest that the dragons are massing for a significant assault on the settlement. Its fortifications are not yet complete, and it will be the aim of the allied operation to defend these half-finished structures from the ravages of the Horde. I expect House Helena shall be positioned on the front lines of this conflict. Should we fight well, the dragons will be routed. Should we fight poorly, our reputation will suffer. From Lord Tedalgrinch's perspective, either result is a victory. For a future of machinistry, however, we cannot afford to fail. Thus have I focused my energies toward designing an attachment that will improve our chances of success. Now, the problem, which I was hoping you might help me solve, is the acquisition of suitable components. The swiftest way to create new technology is by repurposing the old. To that end, I would have you infiltrate Castron's Sentry and salvage a goodly number of War Machina parts. The Guardian's Wehr may take a dim view to your efforts to liberate the supplies. With Joye gone from the workshop, I have no one else whom I can entrust such duties. It is no simple task, I know. But I must have those components. Splendid. These parts will do much to speed the construction of my invention. Now, if only Joye will return to us. Despite Celestor's most earnest efforts, however, it would appear that his contacts in the room have elected to spurn his inquiries. I sense an unseen hand and a sizable purse behind this sudden rush of reticence. Well, mayhap if you were to ask after the old hunter's disappearance instead, then the room's inhabitants would be more forthcoming. Oh, you mean the one whose daughter caught herself a husband in Falcon's Nest? He's probably there with her, ain't he? Oh aye, the creaky old hunter. I hear he got himself paying work, and saw his little girl get married on the same day. That husband said to be the brother of some famous carpenter, and that he don't even need a job to get by. Okay. Ah, that old hunter fellow? I thought he'd left to start a new job someplace else. He was always cursing, all his old wounds kept him from practicing his trade. But I suppose he found himself something new. So, Falcon's Nest? Maybe? This whole thing sounds a bit fishy, but... I never had a fellow commoner refuse to talk to me before. Is that what it feels like to be an outsider? Were you able to wring any information from the broom? A new job for him and a new husband for his daughter in Falcon's Nest. They've been taking a good number of laborers and such to help with the town's restoration. Even a half-crippled old hunter might find some kind of work for himself there. Yes, my prospectometer points unerringly to the west. We shall head to Falcon's Nest and seek out Joye and her father. She must be here somewhere. Any sign of her? There? His lordship, what is he doing here? Joye, please. I ask only that you listen for a moment. Will you and your husband not consider working for me in the manufactory? I can't do that, my lordship. I can't be a machinist no more. It's best for everyone if I leave that life behind. What do you mean, best for everyone? Is that what is best for you? All I want for me is a simple life. One that does not cause problems to those who've shown me such kindness. I'm glad we could talk this one last time, my lordship. I'll be praying that you and your machinists get the recognition you deserve. I always thought Joye was happiest when she had the stock of her flintlock in hand. Will she now sacrifice that happiness for the satisfaction of others? Or is it that she never truly wished to be a machinist and merely suffered for training at my insistence? By arming the commoners, it was my intention to place them on equal footing with the nobles who seek to rule them. But caught in the throes of self-righteous ambition, mayhap I have treated them no better? Seems his lordship is having himself a crisis of faith. Might be as you could lend him a sympathetic ear. I'll join you back at the workshop in a bit. There's something I want to look into first. Welcome back. I've run my prospectometer through all possible permutations, but the result is always the same. We focus on preparations for the Allied operation. So we just give up on bringing Joye back. Should we fail House Decimal, then the reputation we built at the tourney will crumble into dust. We would have to begin again, brick by painful brick. A moment, my lord. I lingered behind in Falcon's Nest to see if I could find Joye's father, but he was nowhere to be found. I got a feeling something ain't right here. If Joye herself has no wish to be a machinist, then what more can I do? It is not my place to meddle in her affairs. Oh, I see how it is. I thought you different from other nobles, but you're all the same. Only interested in helping commoners as long as they're doing your bidding. Well, I've had enough of taking orders. It's time I went my own way. My grand plans for the future of machinistry, have they all been in vain? We've come so far. We have, you and I. Speaking of which, I've promised to use those components you brought me to build a new weapon. If not else, we have certainly made advances in the field of machinistry. Such a tangible measure of progress cannot be ignored. Yes, my prospectometer was so overloaded with referral problems, I failed to see the practical evidence of our success. The path is steep and our steps are small, but that does not mean the destination is beyond us. I will ask much of you in the coming days, Desiree, and I shall see that you are the most well-equipped machinist in the short history of machinistry. And we get auto crossbow. Stefanilian further modifies your Ephero transformer. Alright. A joyful reunion. I hope your firearm is loaded and ready, Desiree. We have received our deployment orders from House Desmal. Several groups of Trevanians are converging on Falcon's Nest, and we have been tasked with eliminating the fiends gathered upon the Black Iron Bridge. Knowing Teddlegrinch, and I fortunately do, I would not put it past him to lure more force onto the narrow structure simply to overtax us. We must needs overcome this assault without Joye's help, or Celestos for that matter. He is yet to return since he stormed out the door. I will assemble our remaining machinists and lead them to Falcon's Nest. Pray join us there as soon as you may. Desiree, I fear Celestos' departure has inspired his fellows to disregard my commands. You're the only machinist to answer my call to arms. And in response to this insubordination, I have been forced to deploy what few knights we could spare, myself included. They even begged me to come along. As I've said before, fighting bloody dragons ain't in me contract, so they'll be paying me handsomely for the trouble. Is this House Helenard's entire company? She seemed to be short a number of machinists. We are keeping our colleagues in reserve. For an operation such as this, we need field only Desiree, the finest machinist in our ranks. Your confidence is truly inspiring. Thankfully, however, there are few enemies threatening the Black Iron Bridge, even with your sparse number. I dare say you shan't be sorely pressed. Celesto, have you come to fight with us? That all depends on you, my lord. We found Joye's father. He's being held prisoner in the room. Held prisoner? You suspect this is some manner of coercion? Aye. We reckon they've been targeting Joye for a while. Her dad vanished right after he landed a job here in Falcon's Nest. And then Joye suddenly up and with the brother of a carpenter working on the fortifications. How's Desmer's behind this, and or I'm a Chocobo's third cousin. Tattle Grinch, you cat! It's not too late. If we wake her dead out, then Joye can abandon her farce for marriage and come back to the manufactory where she belongs. But the bridge, the Dravanians. Go. Joye's a machinist. As manufactory chief, 'tis your duty to attend to your employees. My knights and I shall march for House Helenot. You needn't worry. They'll have us truly fighting right beside them. Go help the boss, Desiree. If Desiree goes, then I'll stay behind. We promised Machinist to the Desmelds, and we don't want to break our word now, do we? But just one should be enough. Thank you all. We shall conclude this matter with the greatest of haste and return as swiftly as we may. You'll find one of our manufacturing machinists in the room. He'll show you where Joye's dad is being held. Hey, at least the Count is actually supporting Stefan Eugenia. Celestin said you'd come, but chief will draw too much attention, so we asked him to wait at the workshop until we're ready to act. Joye's dad is right behind that door over there. We just need to convince the bloke sending guard to open it. He don't exactly look the stoic type though, so a ghost round ought to have him pissing his trousers. Like so. Ow, what the? You shot me! Please, I ain't done nothing wrong. Some fancy fop dropped a pouch on me lap and told me to guard the door. I swear that's all I know. And how much did he pay you? Not enough to die over, my lord. Please, don't shoot me again. It was not my intention to threaten you. We merely wish you to release the man behind yonder door. And should you fear the vengeance of your employer, you're welcome to take shelter at the manufactory. In fact, why not become a machinist? Then you needn't take another such unsavory job again. You're offering me work, my lord? I let the bloke out for that. Hells, I carry him across the city and back for a steady wage. Lord Stephanivian, my humble thanks. You've been locked away for quite some time, my poor man. Do you know who did this to you and why? I have not the faintest idea, my lord. I was hired by House Desmar to work on their walls, and when I went to join the crew heading out to Falcon's Nest, some bastard, begging your pardon, my lord, slipped a sack over me head and carted me away. I'm just a broken old hunter. I ain't got money for ransom, nor does my family. Got to thinking that maybe they nabbed the wrong bloke. Then you weren't aware that Joye was wed, or that she resigned from her position at both the manor and the manufactory? She got married and quit? Why'd she do such a foolish thing like that? I have never seen her happier than when she was slinging one of them flintlocks. So that's why they took me. They're blackmailing me little Joye. Ain't no way she'd just up and marry some bloke that wouldn't let her stay at the workshop. Then she was a machinist by choice. I'm full glad to hear that. 'Tis time we liberated your daughter from her false union. Once she sees you as safe, I do not envy the man who pretends at the role of a husband. I knew you'd set things right, my lord. You'll take care of Joye, and I tell the rest of the machinists that they can come back to work. Alright then, lad, you come with me. I will speak with Joye and unravel this nonsense. You, however, must make haste to the Black Iron Bridge and lend your barrel to the battle. Duty commence. About time you got back. You found Joyce dead then? Good. Now it's up to the boss to bring her back. The fighting has been fierce. Master Rosenthal was injured when he gallantly intercepted a swipe meant to remove my head. Ah, that's a noble way of saying I tripped over its bloody tail and stumbled into the blow. Anyway, you'll have to take my place on the front lines and do it soon, before these stinky knights get their asses handed to them. Are we glad to see you? Let's start from this end and work toward the other. I just won't take them, a big bastard. You was missing a few mates, but you still took care of business. Not that I'd expect aught less from one of me star students. A star indeed. Your arrival was a gift from the heavens. Look, aim, fire! How do you like that, you great scaly bastard? I'm afraid I've caused a great deal of trouble for you all. Thank you for rescuing me, Dad. It was no trouble at all for such a fine employee. As you are now wed, I understand that you may not wish to resume your duties at the manor, but have you considered my son's offer that you and your husband may come to work at the manufactory? Me husband and me agreed to part ways. If it pleases me, Lord, I'd like to start working again at the workshop and the manor both. Joy, my dear, you are most welcome, of course. Neither the manor nor the manufacturer have been the same without you. Welcome back. My lordship, I don't know how to... Best to say... I'm glad to be back. Lord Tettelgrinch, I assume? Ah, I see that even for the much diminished House Helenard, a handful of dragon poses no true threat. I shall have to find a more significant challenge for your next outing. It would seem that you still do not understand that the knight is the master of a battlefield. It was far more than a handful of dragons, Tettelgrinch. Do you think us blind? We know who is working against the manufactory. We know whose underhanded villainy forced Joye into wedlock. Whatever are you implying? You speak as if I recall the names of your low-born servants, or hold even the slightest interest in their common unions. Now, if you'll excuse me, my lords. Damn that man and his arrogance. My prospectometer and I shall remain vigilant, as we may defeat Tettelgrinch's trickery at every turn. The acolytes for this triumph, however, must go to you, Desiree. The bridge is clear and Joye has returned to us. I was afraid I'd seen the last of the manufactory. Thank you again for the warm welcome home. I've never felt as whole as I did after I joined the ranks of the Machinists. When I had to tell his lordship I was quitting, I felt like I was leaving a part of my soul behind. That's when I realized, to me, being a machinist is more than just firing a weapon. It's a way of connecting to another side of myself. Well, now that you're connected again, we can get back to working on your shooting and your swearing. Yay! And there's also the small matter of our delayed tourney celebration. If it please me, lordship, I'd like to do some training instead. I've even need to shoot off 10 square bullets or so. Of course, we all celebrate in our own way. Fire at will, my dear. I for one am eager for the stiff drink back at the manufactory. And once more back home to the manufactory. Once more you have proven your worth to the Machinists and to House Helenard. As for Lord Tettelgrinch, I had my suspicions, but it now seems abundantly clear that he has been behind every mishap and misfortune to befall the manufactory. Despite his knavery, however, our successes in the field will not have escaped the notice of the Holy See. And as our reputation grows, so too shall Tettelgrinch's ire. We had best be on our guard. Oh, did you hear? During his skirmish with a dragon, Wostenstahl developed a new technique. He was adamant that I pass on the particulars to you. Heated split shot. Under tutelage of Wostenstahl, you learn new marksmanship techniques. An upgrade for our base attack. Alright, but I think that shall be it for this episode. We continue this next time, and until then, I'm Ace and don't get lost.